This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. The New York Knicks take on the Detroit Pistons. They have a chance to go 3-0 over the last 3 games, ladies and gentlemen, or win their 3rd straight. Let me say it like that. It's a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and break this one down. They play at 3:30. And for those who are members, make sure that you join us in the members-only watch-along, ladies and gentlemen. I'm putting the link in the chat right now. If you're a member, you'll be able to access the link right there. All right, and I'm going to pin it to the top of the page so you can access this link. And at 3:30, as soon as I'm off of here, we'll be in there checking out the game, ladies and gentlemen. So what's popping to everybody that's in the chat? Glad you guys are joining me here. I got my man Uncle Fulio with me. Andy should be joining us soon. And we're going to break this one down, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so let's go ahead and get in it. Uncle Fulio, what's popping, man? How you feeling?
Pretty good, Sam. Chilling, man. Salute to NBK fam and the chat and everyone out there. This is another winnable game for the Knicks. They've been playing some really good basketball lately without Julius Randle. And I understand Julius Randle is a game-time decision today as well, just like he was the last game. So it's going to be interesting to see how Tibbs is going to incorporate Julius Randle if he plays. If he's going to play, extended amount of minutes, or is it just going to be kind of like, getting his feet wet, trying to get him back, healthy a little bit. But the kids have been playing really well, and I'm looking forward to this matchup with the Pistons and their kids versus our kids. Because there's been a lot of talk about the Pistons rebuilding, and the Knicks, I guess, are not in a rebuilding phase, but they're still in the process of their build as well. So it's going to be a really good game, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, the Knicks have had the Detroit Pistons number over the last couple of seasons. I'm expecting them to go ahead and have their number today as well. You know what I mean? That's what my expectations are. But you just never know. You know what I mean? That's why you play the basketball games. Should be a game that's winnable for the New York Knicks. Especially, you win tonight and then you go into Chicago tomorrow.
Right.
All right. And when you play Chicago tomorrow, that's a team who right now isn't playing that well. They're going through their struggles. You know what I mean? They're in the playoffs, though, but they're going through their struggles, and they're going to be looking to get a win versus the Knicks. Let's check out the injury report, ladies and gentlemen. As you heard Uncle Fulio say, Julius Randle's a game-time decision. He's questionable. Quentin Grimes is out with a sore knee, and I don't know if it's exactly sore, but they're probably just being careful. They don't want him playing on back-to-back nights right now, coming back from that knee injury, right, since the Knicks are on the first night of a back-to-back. So don't panic, ladies and gentlemen, and say, see, now this guy is going to be injury-prone and stuff like that. I don't think it's that at all. I think they're just being cautious about Quentin Grimes and his injury to make sure that it continues to heal, because, it's healed, but to make sure it's not, he doesn't re-injure himself. Let's just put it like that. All right, so Quentin Grimes is out. You said Mitchell Robinson's also a game-time decision?
Yes, he's a game-time decision. I was tweeted out about an hour ago.
Okay, so Mitchell Robinson's also a game-time decision, and then about Cam Reddish, Nerlens Noel, and Derrick Rose, as well as Kemba Walker. It's going to be interesting to see, though, because on the official injury report, it doesn't have Mitchell Robinson as being questionable, right? He's not listed on the official injury report.
Sim, correction. I think it was a game-time decision on whether he'll start or not. So, sorry about that.
Oh, okay, whether he'll start or not.
Whether he'll start or not.
And there you go. That's the question. That's going to be the interesting thing to see if he's going to start, because, we had the little thing about whether or not it was, a little smoke to the fire that he didn't start on Friday. So it's going to be interesting to see. Now, if he doesn't start today, he's not on the injury report. If he doesn't start today, Now there's smoke. It's a little bit more than smoke, right? There's fire. If he doesn't start today, there's fire. You know what I mean? What do you think? You think he's going to start, or do you think he's coming off the bench?
If he's healthy enough to play, he should start. There's no question about that. So I don't know what's going to happen. I just know that if he's healthy enough to play, he should start.
And if he doesn't start, what's that mean?
If he doesn't start, there's some smoke there. I mean, I just feel like, he's been tweeting out a lot of stuff this season about, his unhappiness or, his role in the office or whatever the case may be. And I think there's something there. I'm not even going to lie to you, Sam.
I mean, I'm saying, but if he doesn't start, do you think that means Tom Thibodeau, is it that Tom Thibodeau in his mind is moving on, or that he just likes what Jericho Sims brings right now? Or maybe he just wants to see more Jericho Sims?
I think the latter too. I think he wants to see more Jericho Sims. He likes what Sims is giving us right now. And some of that is going to be, I think, Mitch's discontent. In my opinion, I just really feel like, Mitchell Robinson really isn't thrilled with the situation that's happening right now. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, listen, if I was Mitchell Robinson and I'm fully healthy and Jericho Sims started over me, I'd be a little bit upset. Without a doubt, I'd be upset. And I'd be like, hey, I've been the starter all season long. I'm supposed to be the guy that you're, one of the guys that you're building around. I'm in a contract year, you know what I mean? And now you're not going to start me because, what that does too, when you don't start them, it sends a message to other teams as well. They say, hey, this guy's not good enough to start for a non-playoff team. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this rookie, who's the same age, but I feel like this rookie can give us more on the floor. Do you think it hurts Mitchell Robinson's stock if he doesn't start the remainder of this season?
No, I don't think it hurts his stock at all. I don't think it hurts his stock. I think teams have gotten a really good sample size of what Mitchell Robinson's given us this season. I mean, this is probably his most healthy season, I believe, in a long time. And they see that his ability to rebound the basketball on the offensive glass, his defensive ability. I think teams see that. I don't think him not starting these last few games is going to hurt his stock at all whatsoever. Okay. I think teams have a good sample size of it.
And that's true. And you can always, if you wanted to, and I would expect Tom Thibodeau and the coaching staff as well as the New York Knicks to do so, to just say, hey, it was really just about his back. His back was sore, and we were at a point in the season where we could see a little bit more Jericho Sims, so we just wanted him to rest his back. You could easily flip it that way. You know what I mean? And I think everything would be cool. As for the Detroit Pistons, they have a number of injuries as well. Amadou Diallo, he's out. Jeremy Grant, he's out. Saban Lee's on G League assignment. Isaiah Livers, he's out. Chris Smith is out. All right, so they have a number of people out today as well. All right, let me get my man Andy in the building. And,
Cade Cunningham playing?
Cade Cunningham is playing as far as what I see on the injury report. He is playing today. All right, so looking at the starting lineups, the potential starting lineups or projected starting lineups, I don't know if they're potential or projected, whatever. You got Alec Burks for the New York Knicks starting at the point guard spot, Evan Fournier at shooting guard, RJ Barrett at small forward. Then you have either Randall or Obi at the power forward spot, depending on if Randall's able to go. It would be interesting, Josh. It would be very interesting. The last game, Mitchell Robinson was a game-time decision, and, he played, but he didn't start. How interesting would it be if the same thing happened with Julius Randle and he didn't start?
That'd be crazy.
If Tom Thibodeau complained about the media and the podcasters and all this social media stuff before, if that happened today and he didn't start, oh, man. Be an explosion. And he would have stepped his foot right in the dog doo-doo. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
With doing
Big
that.
Time.
But also he probably would get he'd probably get accolades from some people too. He'd get a few accolades from it. As for the center spot, either going to be Mitchell Robinson or Jericho Sims, depending on who Tom Thibodeau decides to start. right? And maybe sometime during this podcast, the New York Knicks will tweet out their starting group. We'll find that out. For the Detroit Pistons, you got Cade Cunningham at point guard, Corey Joseph at shooting guard, Sadiq Bey at small forward. Now, normally, Isaiah Stewart is playing the center spot and Jeremy Grant is playing power forward, but Jeremy Grant is not playing. So I took, and I'm kind of assuming that maybe Isaiah Stewart plays power forward and Marvin Bagley starts at the center spot. Not exactly sure, where they might go with their starting unit. Andy, what's going on with you, man? How you feeling? Any thoughts about, one, do you think Mitchell Robinson gets to start over Sims if he's, since I guess Tom Thibodeau said that's a game time decision, whether or not Robinson starts over Sims? And do you think Randall plays today?
Yo, what up, Sim? What up, Josh? First of all, what up to the chat? Sim, listen, I think Mitch is going to start. And I think if Randall is a game time decision and he is by any meaning trying to get on the court, he will start. If that didn't happen, he would come off the bench 7 minutes into the game. Like you said, that would be smoke signals all over the league, bro. So I don't think that's happening. But I think that's not happening. I don't think that there's even a 1% chance. I think he either is going to sit out or he's going to start. I like what you mentioned about Isaiah Stewart playing the power forward position since Jeremy Grant is out tonight. And I think that's more probable if Julius plays. If he doesn't, I think, they might go smaller, versus Obi, right? Because Obi's rather faster than Stewart. So I think if Randall plays, Stewart starts. If Randall doesn't, it's a coin toss. So
right. I can see that. I can definitely see that happening. Do you think the Pistons are looking at this game and saying, looking at Mitchell Robinson in this game really, really hard? Not that they haven't seen him before, but, could Mitchell Robinson be auditioning for the Detroit Pistons in this game? I think it's been out there known that they have some interest in Mitchell Robinson because they want to get, a longer center, someone like a Mitchell Robinson out there. What do you think, Josh? Mitch auditioning for the Pistons?
Yeah, there's no question about that. I think the Pistons have the most cap space coming into this offseason. They need a center. They need to upgrade at that position. And I think they can definitely use a player like Mitchell Robinson. So I think they're going to get a hard look at Mitch, watch Mitch dominate them potentially and say that, this is the guy we want to chase in the offseason. So, and I don't know if Mitch is kind of, reciprocated from Mitch's end to Detroit. He's auditioning for them. But I definitely think the Pistons are going to get a good look at Mitchell Robinson today and see what he can bring to the table and potentially how much money he's going to command in the offseason.
I mean that's the reason why he would be auditioning, though. So he could say, see what I can do? You guys pay me. Like, give me 20 mil. you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I think he would be knowing that a team, the Pistons, have money. I'm sure he would want to play well. Just even if he wants to stay in New York, it puts pressure on the Knicks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It puts a little bit of pressure on them to say, hey, this team over here, I don't mind going to a colder place to play. You know what I'm saying? This team up here got some interest in me and they're willing to pay me something. Do you think the Pistons would be looking at Jericho Sims too as a cheaper option?
Well, Jericho Sims isn't going anywhere. I think Jericho Sims is going to be here for the next couple of seasons. He's not going anywhere anytime soon.
I mean, that would be, a trade. They wouldn't be signing him. That would be someone that they would be, they would have to reach out to the Knicks and say, hey, we're willing to trade for Jericho Sims if that were the case. But
yeah, I don't think they're looking at Sims. I think Mitch is their prime target. He's one of the two centers that are going to be in the market this offseason. I think they're really going to focus on Mitch instead of Sims.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Most likely. Let's break down these matchups. First, you got Alec Burks and Cade Cunningham. Right? And, it could be a little bit different. It doesn't have to be Alec Burks guarding Cade Cunningham and Evan Fournier going up against Corey Joseph. It may be a little bit different. between those two, it's going to be either Burks on Cunningham or Burks on Joseph, or Fournier on Cunningham or Fournier on Joseph, right? So looking at just those two matchups, what are your thoughts? I'll start with you, Andy.
Yeah, for me, I think it's for both teams. It's going to be way better if Cunningham is on Burks and Burks is on Cunningham, and Fournier is on Joseph and Joseph is on Fournier. I don't think mixing those matchups has any sense for any party here. Mm-hmm. We know that Saddiq Bey is going to be matched up with RJ, so right. I don't see any cross matchups around those pairs of players. And yes, listen, I didn't see plenty of Pistons game this season because I didn't actually try to even look for their games because Cade was, injured most of the time. I was trying to, find games where he would play. I remember I stayed up one night even just to see him, and Cade was out. So I didn't scout him like that. And listen, I think actually the league, they don't have much info on Cade. I understand that, the scouts were looking at him at college, and he played several games in the NBA already, right? But he was up and down. He was, some games he was really efficient, some games he wasn't. So I think he's still a young guy that you basically don't know what you're gonna, get, which game, which night. So for me, I think, Tibbs is gonna roll out the defense, not, game planning versus a guy like Cade. At least at the beginning. He probably has some options versus him, but I don't think he's going to throw anything special like a double team, like, whatever from the first, from the tip off. I think, he might have that stored for the second half, but from the beginning, I think it's going to be one-on-one defense, switching as always. So nothing special.
Yeah. I think so too, unless somebody really starts to get off big time. And the only person that I'm seeing that might get off like that maybe Saddiq Bey.
Yeah.
And from what I saw, he really developed one skill set that I think, that was his maybe thing that he needs to do, and that's shooting off the dribble. Yeah. He was a spot-up shooter when he came to the league, but now he can do that pump fake, take a dribble to the side, to the back, whatever, and he can make that shot. So I think, Saddiq Bey is really a threat when you think about, playing versus the Pistons.
He is. I wanted Saddiq Bey on this team so bad. Y'all already know. I wanted Saddiq Bey on this team. I really did. The Knicks could have had Saddiq Bey. They could have had Saddiq Bey. They could. I ain't even gonna go there, but I wanted Saddiq Bey on this team, man. I just like that kid, and I like the way that he plays. Plus, he's a local boy for me. You know what I mean? So let's talk. Oh, Josh, your thoughts on those two matchups?
Yeah, I think I agree with Andy. I think it's going to be straight up. Tibbs going to play straight up defense. They're probably going to run some pick and roll. Knicks are probably going to have to switch it. Just if Cade Cunningham starts to get off and use their speed to get around those corners. So I think it'll be a straight up matchup. I don't think you'll see Alec Burks on Corey Joseph or Fournier on Cade Cunningham. I think that's a mismatch anyway. And I think, the Knicks will just play it straight up and see where it takes them. I think the majority of the Pistons offense is going to get run through Saddiq Bey. I think he's now turning that corner and he's taking the next step in his development. Like Andy said, shooting off the dribble, things that we haven't seen him do last year that he's starting to pick up now. And he had a 50-point game the other day, right? He had a 50-point performance against, I think it was Orlando. And, he showed his potential there. So I think majority of the offense is going to go through Saddiq Bey. I think the point guard and shooting guard matchups are going to be just head up, man to man.
Yeah. Somebody asked, is Saddiq Bey from New York? No, I now live in Maryland, Cameron Goldberg. I now live in Maryland, and he's a local boy for me now. You know what I'm saying? Where I live now. You know what I mean? So that's what I mean by that. He's, local kid. Anyway, RJ Barrett and Saddiq Bey, speaking of those two, and this is my Thrive Fantasy matchup of the night. All right, now, so far this season, RJ Barrett hasn't played his best against the Detroit Pistons. All right, in 2 games, he's averaging 15.7 rebounds, 1 assist, shooting 41.7% from the field, 25% from 3, and 100% from the free throw line. Saddiq Bey against the Knicks, He's averaging 23.5 points per game, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, shooting 37% from the field, 35% from the three-point line, and 100% from the free throw line. This is my Thrive Fantasy matchup of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Go to thrivefantasy.com, use the code NBK, and you'll get a 100% match of your first deposit up to $100. Josh, what do you think about this matchup? This is what they've done versus not each other specifically, but RJ versus Detroit, Saddiq Bey versus the Knicks. What's your thoughts?
Well, Saddiq Bey, like I said, he's He started to come into his own this season. I think he's the focal point of their offense, and just like without Randall, I think RJ Barrett is the focal point of our offense. So it's going to be interesting to see how they defend each other. I think Saddiq Bey is a little bit taller, a little bit longer, and that's given RJ Barrett problems in the past. But RJ Barrett's been playing much better lately, shooting more volume from the field. My efficiency took a dip because of the volume of shots that he's taking, but I still think that RJ Barrett is more comfortable out there taking those types of shots. As far as defending Saddiq Bey, like I said, Saddiq Bey is a little bit more shifty now off the dribble. I believe RJ Barrett can stay in front of him. I don't think Saddiq Bey is fast enough to get around RJ Barrett. However, RJ Barrett can't lose this guy because he's developing into being a bucket right now. And I expect RJ Barrett to have way more than 15 points against Detroit today, particularly if Randall doesn't play. I expect him to have, at least 20, 23 points today against Detroit. So I think it'll be a very interesting matchup. And I'm going to say RJ if Randall does not play. I'm going to say RJ wins this matchup. Okay.
Andy?
I think no matter if Randall plays or no, I think RJ has to take this matchup. He's last couple of games, we are seeing the emergence of RJ. And by emergence, I mean like he's taking over the team. He's basically saying, listen, I can be the alpha. I'm going to show you guys. I'm trying to do it. I'm doing it. And by that being said, I know he, like Josh said, he's taking more shots. The efficiency probably, drops, right, with that account, but he's taking more shots. He's trying to, put the team on his back and lead us to W's. And just to add what Josh said, because I agree with, all of his points, what we got to notice that both of these guys are strong threes as far as, throughout the league. This is the thing that it's not like RJ has a physical, physicality, over Saddiq Bey, because Saddiq Bey, he's bulked up. So it's not like, one another is going to post and stuff like that. So, and that goes both ways. I think Saddiq, isn't going to push over RJ easily like he does with some other guys.
Yes.
Now, what we can add also, Sim, going back to the Burks matchup, I think Burks had like 30 couple points the first time we played in Detroit.
Right.
So yeah, he had a huge game then. I think 37 or something like that. So, but he came off the bench. So
right. Playing a totally different role at that time.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean he can't do it, but was definitely playing a different role at that time. The thing about, like you said, with Saddiq Bey, he is very strong. What RJ doesn't have to worry about is Saddiq Bey blowing past him, right? Because he's not going to blow past him and just make him look bad off the dribble. But he's methodical. He can post up. He can rebound well, and he can shoot the three ball. You know what I'm saying? So he's definitely, you can't let him sit out there. You got to be on your game. You got to rotate to him, make sure he's not getting on fire from the three-point line, because he can and he will. You know what I mean? But I think that's going to be a good matchup. That's going to be a fun matchup to watch. Two young guys. Saddiq Bey's in his second year. RJ Barrett in his third year. Saddiq Bey is obviously older than RJ Barrett. I'm not.
And the starters are out. The starters, they've mixed both of the starters.
Starters are out, huh? Okay. All right, let's see what that looks like. But Saddiq Bey, I think I'm going with RJ in this one just because RJ's been playing so hot. He's a different player right now. You know what I'm saying? His mindset is different from the first two times that the Knicks played Detroit. So I'm going with RJ as well. It could be a duel, could be a playoff with each other, but I'm going to go with RJ at this point. Uncle Fulio, what are the starting lineups? Again, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Thrive Fantasy matchup of the night. What are the starting lineups, the announced starting lineups?
So from the New York Knicks Twitter page, starting lineups are Mitchell Robinson, Julius Randle, RJ, Evan Fournier, and Alec Burks.
No, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Julius ain't taking any chances, Sim.
Julius ain't taking any chances. And you clean that up about Mitchell Robinson and Jericho Sims. You know what I mean? So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Starting lineup for the New York Knicks: Alec Burks, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson. So now let's talk about this Randle and Isaiah Stewart matchup. I mean, I think it's a matchup that Julius Randle should win. Although Isaiah Stewart, he is strong. He's a good defender. He's a guy that can rebound the basketball, and he can be physical. I think Julius Randle, coming off of a few days of rest, he may have a good game today. And he should win this matchup. Josh?
Barbecue chicken. I think this is barbecue chicken. And I'm not, taking anything away from Stewart or whatever the case. I like Stewart. He's a pretty good player, real strong, defensive guy. But I think Julius Randle should win this matchup easily. I would like to see Julius get down in the post a little bit more, and then get some easier shots instead of settling for three-pointers and settling for the perimeter shots. But I think, when he's on the perimeter and Isaiah Stewart is guarding him, I think this is a matchup where Julius is going to get to the line, get fouled, and I think he's going to be unstoppable today, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion. I think the offense will slow down a little bit because Julius Randle's on the floor, which I think that's an issue. But I think Julius Randle, one-on-one against Stewart, he should win this matchup, no problem.
Yeah, I mean, he should win the matchup, so no problem. Andy?
I'm going to say like Steph says, depending what Julius shows up, right? Because listen, we know that Julius Randle, for example, he played first bad game after an All-Star break because he's not on in the groove and stuff like that. Maybe these couple of games that he was off, he ain't gonna have that stroke and that shot falling, and that's gonna still I'm taking Julius on a bad night. He's going to be better than Isaiah Stewart, because Isaiah Stewart, he's not going to score, right? He can rebound, he can have a block, he can impact the game a little bit on the defensive end, but he's nowhere near Julius on the offensive side, right? So that's one thing. I just really hope if Julius plays, he comes back and he tries to facilitate and keep the ball moving like he saw the team could play without him and when he was on the bench. I would love for him to have a game like, he doesn't even take a dribble, just, pass, move the ball around. And, so he can show the fans, like, these last couple of games are actually really important for Julius. If he plays them good, the taste in Knick fans' mouth ain't going to be really that sour through the whole off season. So, right. If he could pull that out and, even switch up his game, try to play a perfect team basketball wise, I think it will be way better for all of us fans, just to have an easier summer.
And I see there's a lot of people worried about whether or not Obi's going to get playing time. Is he going to get just 10 minutes, just 15 minutes? Tonight's a game, at least tonight or today, is a game where the Knicks could possibly go small. And you see Julius Randle and Obi Toppin out there on the floor together. Especially if Robinson and Sims gets into any kind of foul trouble. So you can see some different lineups with Obi out there on the floor. I do want to see Obi continue to get 20 to 25 minutes of playing time, right? He's come out in 2 games when Julius Randle wasn't there and played well. So I'd like to see him get that playing time. You know what I mean? And maybe this is a chance too, and just, if it's a blowout, then he'll probably get that playing time. But just for the team, for the coaches to say, hey, you know what, Randle, we'll keep you to 25 minutes or so because, we want you to rest that quad. You know what I mean? We want to make sure that you're healthy and et cetera, et cetera. But we'll see how that goes. I still want to see Obi Toppin get his burn though.
But when it comes to the fan base, this is a classic example of pick your poison, right? So if you give Obi Toppin, some extended minutes, you put a small ball lineup out there, then where's the minutes going to come from for Sims, right? How is Jericho Sims going to get his minutes? You know what I'm saying? Unless you play Julius Randle 20 minutes a game, and that's not happening. right? I know fans are going to root for that.
Yeah, I mean that is true. But you could try some other things. Maybe you could say, hey, you know what? Here's a chance. Let's try Randall at the 3, Obi at the 4, and put R.J. Barrett at the 2. Or let R.J. Barrett play some 1, with Evan Fournier at the 2, Randall at the 3, and Obi at the 4. You know what I'm saying? Because Randall can match up with Sadiq Bey.
Yeah.
At the 3. You know what I'm saying? So here's a chance where you can play around with the lineups and see what people can do in certain situations.
Yeah, and Sim, just to add to this, I'm expecting, not only Tibbs to know this, but also the rest of the fans that we play a game tomorrow.
Yeah.
So, if he distributes these minutes, fairly, I think it's going to be way better than just to play one guy 38 minutes and the next day he's going to be, tired or whatever.
Right.
So I'm not saying split down the middle, straight up half, but, if he takes that at least a little bit in account, I think it's going to be way better than just to, Julius's first game back, he's getting like 41 minutes. So.
Yeah. And then, of course, don't forget that Quentin Grimes is out today.
Yeah.
Right? So you should see a lot of Deuce since Quentin Grimes is out. And then, normally Quentin Grimes comes in, he plays, he might play some minutes with the starters if he comes in for Evan Fournier or something like that. So there's some ability there to switch some things up and allow Obi to get some minutes, I think. There's some ways to do it. And I do see a lot of people out there disappointed because Randall is playing. People are like, oh my God, it just ruined my Sunday. You know what I mean? It's going to be all right, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be okay. Trust me. The thing that's going to look bad on Randall is if the Knicks were to lose today, it's going to look bad on Randall. Even if the Knicks play
30 points, he can have 30 points and the Knicks lose, and it's going to be, oh man, we lost the game because Randall played.
Yeah, even if the Knicks play well, right? The Knicks could play a really, really good basketball game, and somehow the Pistons are just hot. It's not going to look good for Randall that he came back and they lost after they've been on a 2-game winning streak, beating 2 teams that they haven't beaten all season. Although without Randall, they lost to a team that they hadn't lost to all season. So, it's like that. You know what I'm saying? That's how it goes sometimes. But if they lose to the Pistons, the lowly Pistons, when he comes back, it's not going to look good for him. There's no doubts about that. It'll just look bad. Regardless of how the Knicks play, it just won't look good. Just for the optics of it. Although, he has played during their 2 wins over the Pistons. I believe he's played during both of those. I'd have to check that out. Versus each other this season, and this is in 2 games, the Knicks are 2-0 against the Pistons. The Knicks are averaging 99.5 points, 50 rebounds, 20.5 assists, 8 steals, 6 blocks, and 15 turnovers. I think they need to take care of the ball a little bit better. Every time I turn around and I'm comparing them to another team, they're somewhere around 15, 17, 18 turnovers against that team.
Did you say 99 points?
Averaging 99.5 points against the Pistons.
Wow, that's low. That's super low.
Yeah, they're shooting 41.5% against the Pistons, shooting 29.7% from 3 against the Pistons, and 82.6% from the free throw line. The Pistons are averaging 88 points versus the Knicks.
All right. That's why the 99 was enough, Josh.
Right, exactly.
Oh, my goodness.
The Pistons are averaging 88 points against the Knicks. They're averaging 45.5 rebounds, 20.5 assists, 10 steals, 4.5 blocks, 15.5 turnovers. They're shooting 36.6% from the field and 29.4% from 3. And they're shooting 77.8% from the free throw line. Needless to say, neither team is really playing well against one another. Right? They're just not playing well against each other. They're
playing down to the competition, Sim.
Yeah, both teams playing down to the competition, right? So I don't know if this is going to be an ugly game or what. Hopefully it's a blowout game. Hopefully the Knicks blow them out. Julius Randle against the Pistons in 2 games, he's averaging 26 points per game. Hold on, those are totals. Wait a minute. He may not be averaging 26. Julius Randle's actually averaging 13 points per game and 10.5 rebounds versus the Pistons. All right, Evan Fournier is actually leading the Knicks in scoring versus the Pistons. He's averaging 22 points a game, shooting 37% from the field and 36% from three. Alec Burks is averaging 21 points a game, shooting 52% from the field and 50% from three. And then Emmanuel Quickley is averaging 18 points against the Pistons, shooting 31% from the field and 28% from the three-point line. Then you got R.J. Barrett. Then you got Julius Randle, who are averaging 15 and 13 respectively against the Pistons. Neither of those players are actually shooting well. Julius Randle, he's shooting 34.5% against the Pistons, and he's shooting 11.1% from three against the Pistons. So, it could be primed for him to either have a bad game or have a really, really good game, right? But I think it's because a guy like Isaiah Stewart matches up really well against Julius Randle, and I think that's part of the reason why, maybe he struggles. Isaiah Stewart's a good defender, good rebounder, physical guy, probably gives Julius Randle a little bit of trouble. As for players from the Detroit Pistons against the Knicks who are actually playing today, that's another thing. You don't have Amadou Diallo out there he's been playing well against the Knicks. He normally averages 20.5 points versus the Knicks during this season, but he's not going to be playing. 2 games versus the Knicks, he's averaging 20.5 points, 9.5 rebounds, shooting 56% from the field and 33% from three, but he's not playing. Obviously, that helps the Knicks, right? Corey Joseph is averaging 15 points, shooting 75% from the field, 100% from three versus the Knicks. That's just in one game. Isaiah Stewart, he's averaging 9 points, 11 rebounds versus the Knicks. Cade Cunningham in one game, 7 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists. So, they don't have a lot of guys across the board. Obviously, Sadiq Bey is leading them in scoring against the Knicks. So this is going to be, it should be a game that the Knicks be able to go up by double digits and should be able to hold it. And, and just any thoughts, knowing now that Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson are playing, just any thoughts, do you look at it and say the Knicks should wipe them up? Or are you tentative to say that, Josh?
I think they should wipe them up, but I guess, those offensive numbers are alarming. I want to see the Knicks play a little bit of a faster pace. 99 points per game is not a lot. The shooting split are horrible.
Right.
And I just want them to play a little bit faster and get up to that 110, 115 range. Detroit is not that good of a defensive team. We should be able to put the ball in the hole, at least run on these guys. So that's what I really want to see today from, with Mitchell Robinson and Julius playing. I know it's probably difficult to kind of see that, but if Julius brings the ball up the floor, push the basketball. The Knicks play so much better offense when they do that. We've seen it against Miami, even with Quickley pushing the ball up there. Didn't give Miami a chance to set their defense up. And, we got favorable matchups, and we're able to exploit those matchups. So I want to see more of that today from the Knicks.
Yeah, listen, we've seen small stints of the Knicks with Julius Randle and RJ out there on the floor be able to push the ball and really move it and, play a faster pace and get it going that way. You know what I mean? We haven't seen it consistently. We haven't seen it from the team consistently. We see it. Right. We see it this game. We see it that game. We see it in the first quarter. We see it in the third quarter or whatever it is. But it's never been just a consistent thing like this is just how they play. You know what I mean? It's going to be a wonder if they can ever put that together. Andy, should this just be a blowout for the Knicks?
Yes, and I actually think that there's no way. Knicks are, I was going to say on a wave, but I don't think you can call it that way. But we are playing better basketball, right?
Yeah, we are.
That's what we got to acknowledge. And listen, I think the Pistons, even though they got Cade and they got Sadiq Bey, I still think they are basically in tank mode, and they're really down there. And listen, a win versus Knicks might be not in their interest, right? So, low key, they can just let this one slide. So slip away, right? Let's go that way. So I think, that might be the situation. Even if we play, bad basketball, I think, somehow, some way, the Pistons are going to hand us this W.
Yeah. Right now, the Detroit Pistons, ladies and gentlemen, they are 20-54 on the season. They've lost 7 of their last 10 games. The New York Knicks, they're 32-42. They've actually won 6 of their last 10 games. Believe it or not. They're just playing good basketball they've been playing good basketball for a little while, but kind of playing good basketball at the wrong time. You know what I'm saying? But, they're 10 games below 500. Sooner or later, right now, mathematically, they're not out of it. But as the Atlanta Hawks continue to win games, they're 6-4 in their last 10. They won their last game. As they continue to win basketball games, the Knicks will be mathematically eliminated. The thing is, it's probably going to come down to like 3 games left to the season, before they're actually out of it. You know what I mean? But they'll keep fighting and playing and battling. And even past that point, they'll continue to fight and battle. You know what I mean? I just want to see them get to, the biggest win total they can. This is another team that they can beat. Do you expect, though, we talked about it a little bit earlier, some less minutes from some guys because they play tomorrow in Chicago?
Yeah, I said I hope it's going to be Mitch and Julius, that they're going to play less minutes, because one is just literally had played like a half game last time. Mitch, I'm talking about, he wasn't, starting, and he wasn't playing his amount of minutes that he usually plays. And Julius is just coming back. So I'm expecting, listen, every coach on the planet will probably take that into account. We don't know about Tibbs, though. That's the case.
I agree with Andy. I definitely would like to see them play a little bit less minutes, particularly when you see the emergence of these younger players. And, they did really good in the last game with the minutes that they got. Hopefully, I think, not quote me, I said that that game was a game for Tibbs to open his eyes and realize what he actually has in those younger players, maybe throwing them out there in certain situations. And I think this is a game against the Pistons that we can afford to sit Julius for a little bit, Mitch for a little bit, and get Sims out there, get Obi out there some extra minutes. And without Grimes, definitely McBride. So hopefully that's the case today. I don't see any reason for Julius Randle to play anything over 35 minutes or Mitchell Robinson to play anything over his average of minutes.
Yeah. So. We'll see how that works out, ladies and gentlemen. My keys to the game today, in just a couple of minutes here, is for the Knicks to keep playing hard. Right? Just keep playing hard. You got 8 games left to the season or whatever it is. Just play hard. You know what I mean? And try to win as many of those 8 games as possible. Play with space and pace. Space and pace. Keep that floor spaced out. Play with good pace. And you heard Tom Thibodeau say it the other day, or somebody on one of the telecasts heard Tom Thibodeau tell the team to play with pace even in the half court. And that's something that I talk about a lot. A lot of people think pace is just running up and down the floor in transition, right. And it's not. It's not just running up and down in transition. It's also when you're in the half court, the ball doesn't stick. It's moving. Boom, 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 boom. Right, and you're making a quick decision with the ball, even in the half court. That still makes the defense have to shift and rotate, especially if a team is playing a zone. Right, so play with that space and pace. Keep the ball moving. Right, it's going to gravitate towards the person that's supposed to score if you keep it moving. You know what I mean? So just keep the ball moving. Play with those defensive rotations and communication. Over the last couple of games, I've seen guys get wide open under the basket. And when I say wide open, I mean we're in a half-court set and not one defender is near that person because we got mixed up on screen and rolls. Right? And wide open under the basket. I don't want to see that today, man. I hate when I see that. To me, that's the epitome of a defensive breakdown. Sometimes you see somebody not get to a rotation to a three-point basket, a three-point shot, things like that. But when someone is wide open under the basket without a defender near them, and you're in a half-court situation, that is the epitome of a defensive breakdown. You know what I'm saying? And those things got overlooked because the Knicks won. But I seen it on multiple occasions where somebody was wide open under the basket. Several times. You know what I mean? And I hate to say it, but a couple of the times it was RJ and Obi who had the mix-up. It was those two guys who would have the mix-up on who was supposed to make the rotation. All right, so I don't want to see that today. And then execute down the stretch. All right, if it gets down the stretch, execute. Make the right plays. Make the right defensive plays. Make the right offensive reads. Those are my keys for tonight. Andy, anything you like to add or?
Yeah, I think those keys to the games are, spot on. Always, we have to mention the rebounding, and with Julius and Mitch back, I think that should be maybe not an easy win, but I think they should handle at least the Pistons that way, since they basically don't have a great center that can probably battle Mitch. So I think that's going to be a case also for us. I just hope we don't. There's not one of those no-name players that we never see just getting, big games, have a big game versus the Knicks again. That Corey Joseph, he has like 2-3 games a season that he goes like above 20, 30.
Mm-hmm.
No, I hope we're not going to see that kind of a situation.
Yeah, yes, same here, man. Josh.
Yeah, I just want to reemphasize the pace. Like you said, pace doesn't have to be transition, running up and down the floor, but definitely in the half court, moving the basketball, taking the shots that are there for you to take, being less tentative out there with the shots. And speaking mostly to Julius Randle, just take the shot. If the shot is there, take it. Establish yourself inside. They throw you the ball down low. Get your shot off. So just playing with that pace, and on a defensively, just active hands. Active feet, active hands, active feet. And let's try to force some turnovers and get some easier buckets going the other way.
Yeah, let's see what we can do, man. Don't want to have a letdown against the Detroit Pistons. Every team in the NBA has some talent out there on the floor. And if you let somebody get hot, they can do you in. You know what I mean? So, we can't overlook this team and look towards Chicago. I'm pretty sure the Knicks this team wants to prove that they can beat a team like Chicago, but you got to make sure you take care of business today against the Detroit Pistons. So, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate your time. We're getting ready to head over to the watch along. So, again, if you are an NBK member, there's a link at the top of the YouTube chat. Click on that link there, and it's going to take you to the link for you to get into the watch along, ladies and gentlemen. So, if you're a member, make sure you jump into the watch along. Join us. It's fun. It's dope. The game is on, so the timing is there. We all get a chance to talk about it and have a good time, and then we'll be back for the post game show right after the game is over. So join us there, ladies and gentlemen. We're out. We'll talk to you in a couple of hours. If we don't see you in the watch along, be peaceful. Enjoy your Sunday, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.